vacate that and let the division crack on.
Interim's a genuine title. The people who say it's not a genuine title have never won a title in their life.
Yeah, people keep saying, oh, you're probably going to end up like Tom when you win it, it'll get upgraded. And
Why would that happen though?
because people are saying Ilya's not going to be back for at least a year. I don't know, lad. I want to show everyone that I can beat him, but at the same time, if I have me waiting, like Tom was waiting for John, then no. Just vacate that and let the division crack on.
I think it should be Paddy and Ilya. I think that's
The entire lightweight division is buzzing right now because Arman Tsarukyan just made his intentions crystal clear. He's talking about this interim title fight and basically said he's rooting for Justin Gaethje to beat Paddy Pimblett because he thinks the Brit would duck him if he won.
Justin Gaethje is fighting Paddy Pimblett coming up. Who do you favor?
I want Justin to beat Paddy. Yeah.
So here's the weird situation that led to this interim belt being created. The actual champion Ilia Topuria is undefeated, but he's stepped away from fighting right now to deal with some personal stuff, mainly going through a divorce. This left the lightweight division in complete limbo. What's really wild is that the UFC decided to make this temporary championship while Topuria sorts out his life, and it's got everyone scratching their heads because the top contender got completely shut out of this fight. But Tsarukyan isn't sweating it too much about being sidelined for this particular bout. He's confident he'll get his title shot before the year wraps up, though the exact timing is still up in the air. He's looking at either a summer showdown or maybe something at the end of the year. The big question mark here is when Topuria plans to come back.
Justin, he's gonna fight with me, but Paddy, if Paddy wins, he's gonna try to avoid me and trying not to fight me because he's not man like just.
The betting odds have thrown everyone for a complete loop. When the lines first dropped, Pimblett was actually favored, which nobody saw coming. Laura Sunko, who's one of the most respected analysts in the UFC, literally had to double-check when she heard Gaethje was the underdog. Now Sunko definitely respects what Pimblett brings to the table and all the different tools he uses in fights, but making him such a heavy favorite seemed crazy when you look at the experience these two have. As we get closer to fight night, the betting line has barely budged with Pimblett sitting at -225 and Gaethje at +185 across most major sportsbooks. These numbers staying so steady is unusual because you usually see movement when sharp bettors and fight week dynamics start influencing things. The fact that these odds are holding firm suggests bettors really believe the younger, fresher fighter is the safer pick.
Which he is, I believe, currently around a 2-1 favorite to do so.
He is?
Yeah, a little surprising there. I know he opened as the favorite, and people are like, I had Eddie Alvarez on the show, and he's like, he loves Justin Gaethje, obviously, and he's like, once I go to the sports book, Justin's not going to be the underdog anymore. My bet's going to change it alone, but clearly not. A lot of back Paddy in this fight.
That's fascinating. I mean, it's not like I think Paddy should be some ginormous underdog. But that number being so far the other way does surprise me. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it does. But then I look at the stuff on Justin's side. I don't know if you saw that thing about the ingrown hair, the staph infection. That's one thing. Trevor Whitman just did an interview with Brett Okamoto at ESPN, basically saying like, this is it for us. If we don't win this, we're not sticking around for money fights or super fights. Like, kind of applying that pressure there. So I kind of worry for where Justin Gaethje's mind is at, because he was going to hold out and retire if he didn't get a fight like this either, it seemed like.
Yeah. I just think Justin is so experienced, so violent, so he brings an element that none of Paddy's past opponents has had. That being said, there are times where, I think there'd be a lot of opportunities for Paddy to get a submission. So that's what makes it a compelling.
There was a bit of drama leading up to this fight when people online started talking about some kind of mark they spotted on Gaethje's neck in footage. Social media went crazy with people wondering if it might be a staph infection, which is always a nightmare scenario in combat sports because of how contagious it can be. Gaethje jumped on his social platforms right away to shut down the rumors, explaining it was just an ingrown hair that was healing up fine. He seemed pretty annoyed that people were trying to create some controversy out of nothing, which makes sense given how sensitive health issues are in the UFC.
He has staff. Justin Gaethje has staff. That's it. He's totally compromised. He's going to lose to Paddy. Oh, no. I mean, look at that on his neck there. That is just disgusting. Gaethje, man, cover that up. I don't want to be looking at that. Now, Gaethje's come out and said it is an ingrown hair, and breath hanging out of my mouth, Nostradamus. That is a big word for you to be using, Justin Gaethje. I don't even know what that means. You might be low-key a scholar. Getting punched in the face, you might be the first person who's getting punched in the face a lot and somehow become smarter. Now, I know people are going to be saying built-in excuse, yada, yada, yada. Here's what I'm going to tell you. It doesn't really change much. I've already predicted Paddy's going to win. I've already predicted that he's going to absolutely annihilate Justin Gaethje for a multitude of different reasons, right? We already know that Justin Gaethje has, no BJJ. It is non-existent. Bro almost got submitted by Rafael Fiziev. Do you know how bad at grappling you have to be to get submitted by Rafael Fiziev or come close to it? No, this guy's cooked. If this fight touches the ground, it's game over. On the feet, at least Justin has a chance to land something, but the problem with Gaethje is that he's just not very precise with his shots. He's not very good at actually landing the shot where he wants to. Yes, he's landed knockout shots due to his power, but he's not a precise puncher, at all. I think that Paddy's going to try to maintain the distance. He's going to utilize some of his crafty kicks, and I think he's going to eventually try to shoot a takedown, which he doesn't even have to get all the way. All he has to do is get Gaethje's back. If he gets Gaethje's back, it's a wrap.
This fight carries massive emotional stakes because of what Trevor Wittman revealed. Wittman has been coaching Gaethje throughout his entire career, and he got brutally honest about what happens depending on the outcome. The veteran coach laid it all on the line, saying this is their last shot at a title together, and if they lose, Gaethje is going to retire instead of sticking around as a gatekeeper. He put it bluntly, saying, "I'm not afraid to say it out loud. This is our final attempt. If we don't win this fight, we're done. We're not going to go out there and be a gatekeeper chasing money fights and all that stuff." Justin would fight again, but he knows he needs to be there for his family. He needs to be smart and protect his health. But if we win this belt, my crazy goal would be, let's try for multiple title defenses in a row. We don't have the championship right now, so we need to get that belt first. Michael Bisping jumped into the conversation with his prediction favoring Pimblett to win. The former champion turned analyst broke down his thinking, admitting that Gaethje has better boxing fundamentals and wrestling credentials, even though he rarely uses that wrestling in fights. Bisping noted that even if Gaethje decided to wrestle, taking Pimblett down would create its own dangers, because of the British fighter's grappling skills. The key factors in Bisping's analysis were age and wear. At 31, Pimblett is still in his athletic prime with relatively fresh mileage on his body. Meanwhile, Gaethje has been through years of absolute wars in the striking department.
155 pounds. I don't see anyone beating Ilia Topuria. I just don't. Not Paddy, not Justin. Yeah, all right, there's Arman Tsarukyan out there, and he's the dark horse. Obviously, Paddy and Justin are fighting for the interim title. That's an interesting fight because Justin, better boxer, better wrestling, never uses the wrestling. Even if he did use the wrestling, you wouldn't really want to take Paddy Pimblett down. Paddy's a lot younger, a lot less miles on the clock, a lot less wear and tear. I'm kind of early leaning towards Paddy Pimblett in that fight. But who's the undisputed champ at the end of 2026? 2026, Topuria will still be the champ. Yeah, there's Arman Tsarukyan out there, but I don't think that fight will materialize just yet.
Pimblett has been incredibly confident going into this fight, predicting he'll finish his veteran opponent. The Liverpool native has been working closely with teammate Luke Rockhold throughout camp to sharpen his striking arsenal. Rockhold has an incredible finish rate during his flawless UFC run, and Pimblett believes this partnership has elevated his technical striking game beyond what Gaethje displays in competition. The game plan involves using range management to keep the heavy hitter at bay before capitalizing with power shots. Pimblett expressed genuine shock when studying tape of how many clean shots Gaethje absorbs during his fights, suggesting this vulnerability represents an exploitable weakness.
Oliveira, but you know what I mean? It's a new style for him. You're not just the typical up-and-coming scrapper brawler that's going to get into a fun scrap with Gaethje. There's more intricacies to your game with the grappling as well. So how do you think you're going to get this one done?
I think I finish him wherever the fight goes, to be honest. Obviously, I know he can bang, but every fight we get a breakdown made of our opponents, and it actually shocks me how much he gets hit. And I know he takes one to give one, but you can't really just do that. At this level, that's why he's lost to people like Eddie Alvarez, Dustin Poirier, Charles, because you can't just take one to give one, and I'm not going to just be standing there to let him hit me back, you know what I mean? So, be using me range, keeping him on the outside, and I've got a feeling I'm going to knock him out, to be honest. I don't know what it is. I've just got a sneaky suspicion I'm going to knock him out. You know, I've been doing a lot of rounds with Luke Riley for this camp, and Luke's got much better technical striking than Justin Gaethje. And I'm having a lot of success sparring with Luke, and obviously one of my coaches, Ellis, who used to fight himself, he's the exact same build as Justin. He's 5'10" with a 70-inch reach. And I've been doing rounds with him. He's literally, because he doesn't fight anymore, lad, and he's just a coach, he's just done Justin's style for me. He hasn't got his own style. He's been doing Justin for me, and just the bits what we're working, I can see me knocking him out or dropping him and then submitting him. People are going on about his takedown defense, but if I want to take him down, I will take him down, lad. Simple as. But I can see myself dropping him, ending up on top and either TKOing him or submitting him, submitting him or TKOing him a ground and pound.
Michael Chandler made maybe the boldest prediction, not just picking Gaethje for this fight, but also predicting he'll eventually beat Topuria in a unification bout down the line. Since Chandler recently shared the octagon with Pimblett in Miami, that direct experience showed him qualities that casual fans might overlook, like Pimblett's reach advantage, diverse kicking arsenal, and composure under fire. But he still sees a violence and danger in Gaethje that few fighters in any weight class can match. His bold prediction of Gaethje defeating the unbeaten Topuria, a fighter Chandler previously called possibly the most technically gifted in the entire organization, shows just how much he believes in the veterans' championship potential.
Also have been on record and said that Paddy Pimblett is better than a lot of people think he is. You know, because of his, his haircut and the way he talks and some of the, the strength of schedule. People don't give him a lot of credit, but when I fought him in April in Miami, I'm not going to say that I was surprised because I was expecting the best version of Paddy, but he's better than a lot of people give him credit for. He's got long reach, good kicks, pretty darn patient and composed in there. But Gaethje's a whole different animal. So if I had to bet, which I can't, but if I had to lean one direction, I'd go Justin Gaethje, interim champion, and then he beats Ilia Topuria later on this year.
Tony Ferguson offered psychological insights that went deeper than just physical analysis. He highlighted the mental baggage Gaethje carries from 2 previous failed title attempts, suggesting those experiences create emotional pressure that resurfaces in championship fights. The weight of repeated disappointments contrasts sharply with Pimblett's fresh excitement about experiencing his first title opportunity without the ghosts of past failures haunting him.
It's not bad, dude. Paddy's not bad. He's very beatable, and Gaethje's very beatable as well. But when it goes into the passion and how upsetting Justin Gaethje has always been about not getting that real title shot, and they just keep dangling it right there again, Paddy's in for a new treat, right? Paddy's the one that's never fought for a belt. He's going in there. He's going to be trying to, get that stuff. He's going to feel a little bit more pressure. He's going to have that little bit of excitedness in mind.
Uriah Faber analyzed who performs better when technical skill breaks down into chaotic warfare. While both fighters willingly engage in battles, Faber observed something unique about Gaethje's response to chaos, noting he seems genuinely energized when fights devolve into mayhem.
Pimblett and Justin Gaethje, who do you favor in that fight?
I gotta go with Gaethje. I feel like he's the one that loves to get down and throw fist for fist. And he's also got the Division I wrestling to negate some of the biggest skill sets of Paddy. Paddy's a very dominant grappler when it comes to submissions. I think Gaethje has the tools to keep it where he wants it.
Daniel Cormier expressed frustration about the matchmaking itself, arguing Pimblett's rapid ascent demonstrates marketing priorities over athletic merit, especially when compared to Sarakian's more accomplished resume.
They're just basically saying Paddy's more popular, you're getting it over Armin.
Yeah, it's kind of sad, right? And that's, God, I hate how I kind of get into this too much, but that's really that's the definition of, monopoly, where a single promoter owns the title and the rankings. And it's not a good thing for the sport, in my opinion. And I have to question what it's going to do for the longevity of the sport. I don't think in the short term it's really going to make a big difference, right? It's going to sell the next fight, right? It's going to sell the next pay-per-view. But trends tend to come and go, right? Fads tend to come and go. At some point, like, you know, to have staying power and lasting power, I think it requires, you know, a meritocracy based system. It's going to require, you know, some, you know, if you want to bring in guys like Armin Sarukian or Mosar Evlev, I always mess up how I say his name. You want to bring in these Olympic wrestling level guys. I mean, they don't want to have to go out there and put on some ridiculous show to become a champion. They don't want to have to go on Instagram and start a podcast and make you know, whatever kind of skits on social media and this silly kind of stuff. Like, they just want to be a world champion because they want to be the best athlete. And that's what makes me wonder how the staying power is going to be, right? When you're dealing with guys that are, you know, legitimate athletes that want to be legitimate athletes, and they're getting passed up by guys that.
Eddie Alvarez, having unique perspective from defeating Gaethje years ago, emphasized preparation over natural talent. He warned that Gaethje's suffocating pressure is impossible to truly replicate in training, potentially leaving Pimblett unprepared for the actual fight night challenge.
8 years ago, what's like the first thing that comes to mind when you think of that fight with Justin?
That I'm glad it's over and I never want to do it again. I'm like, the fans don't ever ask for a rematch or anything like that, because that would have never. I'm like, I'm glad. He's unique, man, and he's one of my favorite guys to watch. So like, but if you want to beat Justin Gaethje, you have to. So he's a forward fighter and a pressure fighter that he will stand in the pocket, and he's gonna throw everything he got in that pocket. If you don't meet him, you'll get chewed up. So Paddy, the way to beat a guy who like does this, very violent, aggressive pressure fighter, you have to meet him. You have to throw when he throws. So you got to be brave, and you have to go when he goes in between his shots. If you do that, you got a fair shot. If you don't do that, if you're not brave and courageous and throw when he throws in between his shots, it's going to be a really long night. It's going to be a hard night for you.
Renato Moicano predicted Pimblett winning by submission unless Gaethje scored an early finish, claiming the odds underestimated the ground game advantage.
You know, I think 5 rounds. If this is the common take, everybody gonna say that, not only me, but if Justin Gaethje doesn't stop him on the beginning, he's going to lose. I think everybody thinks like that, and I think Paddy Pimblett will beat Justin Gaethje. That's what I think.
This combination of perspectives, predictions, and storylines transforms UFC 334 into far more than a standard interim title fight, representing career crossroads, promotional philosophies, and the eternal battle between experience and youth in combat sports.